Welcome. Time to check the game notes. This turned out to be a college hockey extravaganza show. We'll tell you all about that in a minute. You see the arm dog, he's at home for once. Our two other guys, Pasha and G, are on the road, so we're going to hear from them in a little bit. But first, I got to tell you, Army, and everyone listening in the chat about DraftKings. This NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going. But that just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out and games left for you to get in the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The NHL is the fastest game on ice. Is it the only game on ice? And you can make fast live bets during any game on DraftKings Sportsbook. Armdog, you know I'm a live better. I love it. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. I'm looking at the board tonight. We're going to break this game down later. Dallas, Winnipeg. You can get Dallas money line right now, plus 114. The team everyone's been talking about since our trade deadline show, or even take the over 5.5. If you're Mr. Ice, he's out in Vegas. He's an over guy, minus 118. All of this is on DraftKings. If you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code Chicklets. That's code Chicklets for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. I'm sorry that was a long read.
Attaboy.
We did it.
You are a beast. You're a beast. You're humming probably. You got the Murr hum going, just like nervous. You got the RPI shirt on for the extravaganza today. We're following an extravaganza up with the extravaganza, Merles. Tough to top last week's show on trade deadline. Suits were on. Ultimate crash out by our boy G. It was incredible. Pasha just pulling all the strings, guest after guest after guest in rapid fire. Thanks to everyone who joined us for that. Just so exciting, and the trades that happened, and now we get to see. Now we've seen a little bit of it. Some of these guys on their teams, Merles. And I'm just kind of like down right now a little bit, buddy. I'm down. And I don't know why. Like, the weather's getting good. Like, it was nice. It was nice the last
March
few days.
Madness, baby. Let's go.
I know, but and how happy are people? You know how big my Twitter was blowing up? My Twitter was blowing up because of you, Merles. Speaking of DraftKings, DraftKings must not like you.
The draw.
DraftKings, the old draw lay. People were firing the draw lay, the Murley draw lay, like unbelievable.
Dude, did you see how it all went down? They're both tied going into the third period. Your team, Vecchio, they're trying to ruin it. They go up 3-2, and it's done. They pull the goalie. There's nothing there. They dump it out one last time. I immediately tweet, like, loser. Like,
I saw that.
Maybe I can get a reverse mush here one time. No chance. They come in, 3 seconds left. They tie it up. I went bananas. It was sick. Unbelievable. I just had them both separate, but I know Singsy had the draw lay. I had a ton of tweets, draw lay from the DraftKings app. Great to see. Great start to the weekend.
What a legend. Yeah, people like Singsy. Singsy's heading out to Arizona. You know, I get the odd text from Singsy. He's like, yeah, Merle's just paid for my entire golf trip. Thank you, draw lay. He's loving it. He's fired up. I see him in the chat. Captain of the chat. No, but I'm sad, Merle's. I'm in the process, and it's almost done. I took down my outdoor rink yesterday, bud. I took it down. It's over. What a great winter we had, though, for the rink. Shout out to everyone that put in the work. It's probably almost done. A lot of these places, unless you're like in Saskatoon, when I talk to my dad, it's still freezing cold there. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, you still have you can still outside, Merles?
Yep. Yeah, we can still buzz around.
Oh, that must be so nice, but also so depressing.
Yeah, it's a little both. A little both.
Yeah, but I worked my ass off yesterday before the Pens game and Blues game, and I got like all of it taken down. So a lot of work, and I got it taken down in a good way, because sometimes I leave it sitting out there and all the boards get dirty and everything gets all mangled, and I wanted to put it away. So like it's been a process, because I leave it there, and then there's like stagnant water that I try to drain out, and then it's like it gets gross. So I did it quickly and got it in there. It's all pristine, all tucked away already, all the boards. So next year when I crack it out, she's ready to go. She's ready to go, baby. So what a winter, though. What a winter. Like a few months of ice, Merles. Doesn't get better than that if you're dad. Making memories out there with the kids.
Yeah, it's good for you guys. Future Army is going to be happy about that hard work you put in there. But I heard on PMT today, Pittsburgh is actually have decent weather, like warmer weather than you would have thought, because the guy from Seattle's moving to Pittsburgh and he wanted
Yeah.
warmer weather. So they were joking about it, and they went through the temperatures about average in Pittsburgh. So you had you had a really good year to have the ODR going.
We got lucky, big boy. We got real lucky.
But yeah, like if we haven't mentioned it yet, we got a big time college hockey coach coming on, and who's better to talk about it than the guy who went and did a Chiclet University there? G, come on and let the people know who you locked in for us today.
We got Coach Gadowsky from the hottest team in America, Penn State, Guy Gadowsky. So we are very, very excited to have him on. He was featured in the Penn State video, Chiclet U, that we did a couple months, almost a year ago now. But hottest team in college hockey right now, 12-2-2 in their last 16. Huge game against Ohio State tomorrow. And his son is lighting it up this season at Army. So very excited to talk to Coach Gads. And he sent me, I'd say, the nicest text I've ever received after I left Penn State, telling me I'm a Nittany Lion for life and all these things. I love the guy.
Well, he's a Western Canadian guy. He's a Western Canadian guy.
Western guy.
This is how they roll. Just a solid guy, raw bone tough, raw bone strong, and just now he's just. This program right now is just capturing the nation, and so get ready. We got the big boy, the captain of the ship at the helm. When we bring him on, it'll be an electric factory. There's no question with what they're doing in Hockey Valley. G. Not Happy Valley.
We have a big Chiclet U coming next week with another Big Ten team, Minnesota, the Golden Gophers. So we did a video with 2 first-round picks, Sam Rinzel and Jimmy Snuggerud. So that drops next Thursday. Very, very excited about that. But I feel like if we're talking YouTube, we got to bring Posh on and talk about the monster sandbagger that we dropped this past week, right, boys?
Oh, 100%. Pasha, where are you at? I happen to recognize that background.
Yes, this might look a little familiar. It is Mr. Bissonnette's office. I'm here in Scottsdale for his 40th birthday party going down tomorrow. It's going to be an absolute shake daddy. Grinelli's also in town for that. We got the legend Minzees in town for it too.
So I'm in a tough spot here, boys. I'm in a real tough spot. So it's Biz's birthday, but it's also my fiance's birthday. So I'm here for 36 hours in Scottsdale, in and out, red eye Saturday night, back to New Jersey. Then I got the spa day planned. I got to get a nice present while I'm here. I'm in the doghouse, I'd say. Buddy,
no, you're unbelievable. You're grinding for your 2 loves in your life, your fiance and Biz. So that's great. That's very good. Hey, also shout out. It's my daughter's birthday. It's my daughter, my little baby Lucy. So happy birthday, Lucy, this weekend. Big party tonight. Lucy. We're doing the party tonight, though, so we don't want to take the shine away from Biz's big bash tomorrow.
What are you guys doing?
Oh, it's just a big themed party here at the house. The wife's setting it all up. I have no clue, obviously.
Oh, here we go. Right. See, boys, Army doesn't do a thing back there. Like I always say in the text group.
I do it all. It's also JT Miller's birthday.
Wow.
Pasha. Oh, no, Pasha.
Oh, no.
You got anything to say about that? Not JT Miller
No,
guy?
I have no comment about that. But, yeah, I know Sandbagger released yesterday. It's electric. The numbers are through the roof. We're already over 250,000 views, and we're just 24 hours in. So check it out. New Kings of YouTube Golf. The crown is for the grabbing. It's another good match.
Just did Joey Colcutt's dirty on that thumbnail.
Oh yeah, I usually get that. That would be me. That's the one I would get. Hey, Pasha, did it make you feel good? Just a little thing, like because you guys did the actual sandbagger. It was yours, and like you getting like they were giving out tons of like I think they were like floored by like the production value of it. Like that, they're giving you some major props. These guys, this is kind of what they do, you know. It's like
there
pretty
were some
incredible.
props, but you know, there was also some diehard Bob Does guys that were in the comments chirping, being like, "Fuck this! Bob Does videos are better with way less cameras and whatnot." So you know what? They each have their own flavor, each have their own production. No matter what you do, you're gonna get chirped. You know, there's guys on there saying, fuck Biz, he's so obnoxious, or fuck Jans, he's a terrible addition, or fuck Joey Coldcuts, he's whining. No one's safe from chirps in these things. You know, even me making it behind the scenes. You put yourself out there with these videos, you're gonna get chirped no matter what you're doing.
I'll be in like 2 seconds of the video, and there'll be like 15 comments that are like, "Fucking Granelli, that loser! What an ugly haircut! He's got a snaggle tooth, that fucking clown!" Jesus Christ!
Brad Allen in the chat says great editing effects, which I got to compliment. The open to that. Yeah. I've never seen you do that with guys like exploding or blooping up and go like, and the music and everything that was with it, like to get you fired up for the Sandbagger, Pasha. Unbelievable job on that. You got to go check it out. It gets you fired. Like you want to run through a wall after you see the opening with the boys, and like the effects that you put in is incredible. So great job, buddy. Check it out, people.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, Pasha, we're going to move on. We're going to keep the college hockey theme going. I want you to pop up my college hockey top 10 here. Quickly go through the rundown on this ranking for this week, because our guest is here. He's waiting. And look who popped into the top 10. Penn State is there, but Boston College still up there, number 1. Michigan State, you know I got Maine up there, G. What else do you guys see in there?
Is that too high for Maine?
Yeah, it's a little biased. But, you know, I had a nice phone call with Benny the other night about life and everything up in Orono, and I wanted to pump them back up there.
I think Western Michigan is a team that just interests me. They've stuck around the top 5 all season. It's like it seems they're a heavier team, tough to play against. That's an impossible barn to go in and play at. That's a team I haven't really given them the respect they deserve in my top 10. But yeah, I mean, and then there's the Minnesotas and Michigan States that I'm very interested about, Merles. And I can't wait to ask Gads about this. Is with the Big Ten tourney, these guys get knocked out early. They're off for like 2 or 3 weeks before they play their first tournament game. That's so like, if you were the coach of Minnesota or Michigan State, like what are you doing? Are you scheduling scrimmages, but Coach you also don't want the guys to get hurt? Like, how are you handling that?
Yeah, I would try to line up some sort of scrimmage, maybe against the club team, or, you know, most of these colleges are carrying 5 or 6 lines. We always carried at least 5. So you could do an inter squad scrimmage and you have 3 lines on one team for half the game. And then you switch. One line plays 3 lines the whole game, but so you're not killing each other. But that's always a good way to do it. Back when I played, the coach had to worry about us sneaking away for spring break during these weeks or two. So things have changed a little bit since then.
You got to imagine these kids are still, you got to worry about that too. I think,
well, you know what?
Worry.
Try being in the CHL, boys. Just a little thing. I've worked Memorial Cups before. I remember one in Windsor in particular, Sergachev on the team and others. They ended up winning the Memorial Cup that year. They were the host team. They lost in the first round. So they had like 41 days before the Memorial Cup tournament. So talk about a grind of having to get ready and letting your guys go home for just a little bit of time before they have to come back and like get dialed into like, you know, I think there's all different ideas. Rocky Thompson was involved in coaching that team and like gave us his plan of like 3 phases of getting ready. So not that much time, but still that is a problem for any team having to get ready. But Penn State is a big reason why teams are sitting around waiting in that Big Ten with the way they're playing, Merles, and they snuck into just number 10. I wonder if the coach Gadowsky will have anything to say about that.
Yeah, well, why don't we just bring him right in? Let's get it going. He can chirp me just like all the commenters were about me not having BU in last week. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well. I'm not going to chirp you. I appreciate the top 10 selection. We'll take it.
Yeah,
that's more official than anything you'll see out there. So just so you know.
Yeah, all the scouts, all the NHL scouts are only looking at that one. All the big media, ESPN, whoever is calling and using that one, I know of. So
awesome.
It's important
stuff.
stuff.
I feel even better.
Well, what the heck is going on in Hockey Valley right now with your group and your team? And I guess the noise they've made to get it started. Like, can you explain kind of what you guys have captured right now? One as a team, but also I think nationally too, just for college hockey, the big picture, like Penn State is popping everywhere. And like, what has happened to you guys? What is going on?
Yeah. I mean, we had a rough start in the Big Ten, but we were playing okay. And then Arseny Sergeyev, our goaltender, who's just awesome. I mean, he got hurt, and we had trouble keeping the puck out of our net, doing anything to do that. And then a guy named John Seifarth came in. He's a kid that he didn't even play junior hockey. He played like Pennsylvania high school. And he came in, he was our third goalie, and we started him, and the guys just rallied around him. He's an awesome kid. The guys love him. And so the team just rallied around him. And I think that when we got our Senny back, I mean, I think we were better off going through that. I think we're better off now having gone through that than we would have been if we never went through it to begin with. Now, it was tough sledding for a while, but great leadership kept us positive, and now we're just riding the wave. Obviously, you've been to Pagula, so you know how nuts that gets.
The best.
It's off the hook, so we just sort of try to ride that wave.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Pagula and Chicklets University when our guy G went there. What were your first impressions of him showing up there?
Oh, it was awesome. I had no idea. In fact, he showed up I wish I had a heads up when he was coming to my office. I didn't even have my tooth in when I saw him. But other than that, it was great to have him here. He was able to go out in the town. So we heard a lot of great comments about him out on the town as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of my favorite parts. And you guys, I tell everyone, and I said it on Morning Cup of Hockey this past week, the hospitality that you guys showed me that week it's bar none. You guys, all the custom gear, Schoner taking me out on the town a couple nights because he was injured. It was an awesome time, and I can't thank you guys enough for letting us do that video. But you guys are on fire this year, Coach. Like, what can you attribute to, I mean, Aiden Fink, 7th rounder out of Nashville. This kid, I wanted to do the video with him when he originally came. I don't know if you guys remember, but you're like, he's a freshman. He's so shy right now. You ended up giving me Christian Burger, Hot Juicy Burger. That guy was incredible. Yeah. But talk about Aiden Fink right now. This kid's incredible.
He is incredible. I mean, he's always had a great knack, but what makes him great for the team is he's a super hard worker. And I think it rubs off on the team. I remember when I first started in college hockey, Ron Mason, you guys know him from Michigan State. He once told me, he's like, look, when you get your best players, if they're your hardest working players, then you got something. And with Aiden Fink, he gives so much of himself every game, like just so much of himself. He works so hard. He empties the tank every game. So when you have a guy as talented as him playing that way, it really rubs off on the team. And I think that's a big part of why we're doing what we're doing right now.
You got guys popping, no question. Aiden Fink, 7th round pick, to G's point. Like, I think when you're on a team and you recruit or you're team building during the year, you hope to, get to where you guys are getting to right now, knocking off teams and making waves. And I've seen some highlights, obviously, and some like your arm pumping on the bench, going off the ice on massive wins, like the sweet spot that you have to get into with a group. A credit probably to the kids, yes, but the whole staff just putting everything on this ride, right? These seasons. It's just such a unique monster each year to year that this one just seems like crazy right now what you're on. And I love seeing those arm pumps from you going down the bench. I'm just like seeing those highlights and everything that you guys have provided. What's that like emotionally for you guys where you're at right now?
Well, it's, you can't set up a formula and say, this is what we're going to get. It sometimes happens. It sometimes doesn't. But I think there's two things that have led to this. Number one, the leadership that we have had, especially when we were going through a rough time. We started 0-8 in the league, like 0-8. It could have gone real hard south in a hurry. And it didn't, because of, we've got great leaders on this team, like great leaders. And I got to mention a guy named like Carson Dick is just a guy that he just gets it. He like refused to let guys get negative and down. So he deserves a ton of credit for that. And then the other part of it is our whole staff. I think everybody from strength coach to athletic trainer to everybody. I mean, they really like to have a great, like real fun, competitive, great environment, like everybody on our staff. So I think when you sort of get some positive staff with a team that, just refuses to get down, then, if all goes well, you get sort of what you're seeing right now. And then you get great goals like JJ Webush scored the other night. Like that just doesn't happen unless you all feel really good.
Coach, when you're recruiting all these kids, how do you find that? How do you get that to pop out and you're getting a kid that is going to be positive and going to buy into your program and your beliefs in the game?
Yeah, you don't always know, but it's really important us to try. And so Keith Fisher, Giuliano Pagliaro, Andrew Sturts, these are guys that they first, and they know it. They're like, we first have to do work on the person, because at Penn State, like, we're a new, a relatively new program that is the way we win is to get guys that just compete and buy in and love it and just love it. And so that's their number one. Like, if they get guys that they think just love to compete, then they move on. And I think that's a big part of it.
Coach, before you came on, we were talking about just the break that in the Big Ten tournament that some of these teams are going to have. Michigan State, Michigan. If you were coaching one of those teams with this long extended period before the tournament starts, what are you doing to get your guys ready? Because you don't want to risk injury. One of my buddies mentioned, bringing down a university from Canada to play. But again, you don't want to risk injury before these big tournaments. So, like, what would you do to get your guys ready?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the year. Like, sometimes, believe me, sometimes a break is really welcome. I mean, we've had times at the end of the year where we were just, running on fumes and injuries. And trust me, if you get a week off, it can really be a big benefit as well. So it really depends on the year. But scheduling, as long as you think ahead, you can schedule around it. But like I said, like sometimes you're on a roll and that could hurt. Sometimes you could really use the break to heal and refresh, and that could be a real benefit too.
You are Mr. Penn State. You've been there for what? This is your 13th season there. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You go through season to season. I'm just looking at like where you're at right now with just this team in general, just to capture your guys' belief system. I remember playing in the Dub in the Western League, and we played the Calgary Hitmen, and they had this stacked team, and Brent Sutter kind of challenged us because we'd always lose to them. He's like, "You're beat before you get off the bus." Like, they were just like kind of star-studded. Like, the belief system of your group right now, since Christmas, your team is just setting Penn State records with your wins and where you're at and the teams that you're beating. Belief system so big. Is this the best it's ever obviously been for you with the run that you guys are on right now?
I think that's fair to say, but that belief system that you're talking about, like, that was built from day one, because we were actually supposed to have more years as an independent before jumping in the Big Ten than we did. And what happened was, when we would recruit guys, a lot of really good players, like, oh man, like, Penn State's awesome, like, so much fun, I'd love to be there, but I don't want to lose for 4 years. I don't want to get our asses kicked. So the guys that we brought in, guys like, actually Tommy Olczyk's a perfect example. He said, he was like, look, I want to build something. I want to build a foundation of culture. Like, that's what really turned him on. And it's that attitude, but it's been building. It's not just this year, but you get guys like that and you build on top of it. Now, you mentioned all of the guys that we have just compete so hard and want to, they embrace, like, the toughness. That's really important to us. So it is true, this year is awesome, and our guys deserve a ton of credit, but I think it's also been built from the guys of the past.
Coach, you were and Colby said it, you've been at the program since the start. You were a major part in helping Penn State jump from club to D1. Now, this year we saw UNLV take down Denver. What an awesome win that was for that program and those kids and in club hockey in general. Have any club programs reached out to you to ask for help in how to get that process started? Obviously, it starts and ends with Pegula's writing a $88 million check, but I'm sure some coaches have reached out and asked about, just the whole process from start to finish, because no one's done it like you guys. It's almost like you guys are like the Vegas Golden Knights. You just jumped in and, like you said, you kind of just started winning.
Yeah. So first of all, we're all very fortunate to be here on top of Mr. Pegula and his family. Like, that's what it's all about. But since we're invited, it's been a real blast to do. And a couple things, like when you ask about other club programs, when this sort of happened and we started to get some success, we had a lot of teams reach out and would talk to us. And then, after COVID, it slowed down a little bit, but that's why I think there are so many of us that are optimistic about the growth of college hockey, and especially in the West. When you saw UNLV do what we did, I mean, calls were going around like, that was awesome. That is fantastic. It can happen. And I know Mr. Pegula is pumped about that as well. So I don't think we're done here. And I think every time that you see something like that happen, I hope it encourages great universities to jump in, because I tell you what, Penn State is really taken to it. They love it. You've seen that the atmosphere here is just off the hook. The community just loves it.
Cool.
And it's been so fun to be around.
Yeah, at least one of Pakula's teams is winning this year. I wanted to go back on the recruiting part of it. And like when you do have a big guy coming in on his visit, what are you doing for him? Where is he going? Is he going to the football game? What other perks are you showing him to get him to commit to Penn State?
You take him right to champs.
Yeah, we have shown her taking a chance. No, you know what, like football games are unbelievable, but so is, I mean, if you ever seen a wrestling match like at Penn State, I mean, they're the best sports program, and I think the history of college sports program is off the hook there. Women's volleyball is off the hook, so we can take them to a number of places. But if you've ever come and see a football game here, I know there's tailgating other places. This is different. It's got to be a different word. It's incredible. It's so much fun. That's something. This facility, when Mr. Pegula built it, he was like, it has to be. He wanted it to be all hockey all the time, just the most convenient facility for hockey players. So I think it's a really awesome feeling here because you get everything. It's just the hockey teams. It's all hockey. It's wonderful. And then you know what? Really, I think it's the culture of the guys. It's what we talked about before. The guys that came in. Tommy Olczak's a great example, but there's several, like so many others that have really built this to get the guys that want to go to college hockey for the right reasons, like to be the best player, but to have a blast and go to a school that has, like, we have the world's most powerful college network, like that can appreciate that. If you're here for the right reasons, like those guys just love Penn State, absolutely love it. So that's what it's about. So we take the guys, let them hang with the team, and that usually seals it.
In the recruiting trail, how often are you dealing with guys who don't want to come for the right reasons? Because we're seeing now NIL is obviously a major factor. And let's call a spade a spade. Penn State has deep pockets. Like let's be honest here. But so how are you handling one, NIL, and two, kids coming in and essentially are they demanding money right away like we're hearing in basketball and in college football?
No, it's still important to us. Like I said, like for the other coaches that go out, I think it's really important that you get guys that want to be here for the right reasons. That's number one. And I don't know, not gone down this road, but I think that if someone's just coming here because of money or whatever, I don't think he's the right guy. And I think we really try to get the right people that love Penn State, that are going to love it for life, because this is an awesome place to go, whether you're 20 years old or 40 years old or 60 years old. So you want guys that really can love it and come back and be a part of the program forever. Those are the guys we're looking for.
Yeah, and in the recruiting process too, it's crazy now too with the CHL and those kind of things that have kind of popped up. I look at your roster of guys. Aiden Fink, perfect example, right? Was he in the Brooks Bandits, I believe, if I look up his stats, and it's like 30 points, 90 points, and then you get this kid coming out of there. When I look at Penn State, I'm looking at a place where if you're a guy that wants an opportunity and you want to play and you want to develop, and the track record's there with Penn State, all these other, programs around that you're competing against, you get guys in there that maybe would possibly get swallowed up in other places. It's a great place to develop and grow and build. And now a springboard of seasons stringing together where guys are going, oh, hey, like this is popping up. What's that going to look like coming up this year before we get to the big games coming up this weekend and your future this summer of now wrangling guys and doing your job? But what's that going to look like for you guys coming up this year with all those changes and what you guys have to hang your hat on as well as a program and a hockey program in a school?
Well, we don't want to change our stripes at all. We're really proud of the culture environment that we have. When you talk about development, I think it's something we've always done pretty well. And especially, like you said, we're a new program. So we weren't getting the first rounders weren't coming here right away. And then we got a guy, Andrew Sturtz, who came in here like Fink. He was the Canadian Player of the Year. He was a guy that, he was here for 3 years and as a free agent and then signed an NHL deal. And he just he's really passionate about development. So I think we did a pretty good job of it before, because this is our building. We have all the ice time you want and the gym's right across the hallway, like everything. It's great. And now you got a guy like Sturtzy who he really is passionate about it. And he actually, when he played pro, he was a skills coach. So for skill development, that is a monster thing for us. We're very, very fortunate, obviously, with this facility to be able to take advantage of it. And with him, a guy that's so passionate and has done it. And I think, the fact that he's worked on his skills really allowed him to sign an NHL deal. So he transfers that to our players, and he has a good time at it too. So I think that's a really big part of what we do.
Coach, you mentioned before you started 0-8 in conference play to start the season. What are you telling the guys in the locker room? I mean, I can't imagine spirits were that high at that point, but like, what are you telling these guys to get them back on track? Because 0-8 in conference play to start the season, it can't be fun going to the rink almost when you're not winning games.
Yeah, I got to tell you, like, it's not necessarily what the coaches tell the players. I think what's really important are what the players tell the players when the coaches leave the locker room. And that's where I say guys like Carson Dick and Simon Mack and Jimmy Dowd and Danny Genev and others. But I mean, these guys were like I said, Carson deserves a ton of credit. He really does, because I think he was the one that absolutely refused to let anybody get down. And I give him so much credit for the turnaround, because it takes someone that's comfortable to be that guy, that leader. And there's others, but I think he led the way. And so, like I said, I don't think it's so much what the coaches said. I really don't. I really think it's what was said when the coaches leave the locker room. So that's probably a question for Simon Mack or Carson or someone like that.
I'm looking at your team. I'm looking through the notes here, and it says the team as a player is a finalist for every award this year in the Big Ten. Is that a true statement? And what guys you want to shout out here for them?
Yeah,
even him.
Go down the list. Like
even the coach.
Aiden Fink, like I said, he deserves more credit than he gets. And that's hard to say because he leads the nation scoring, right? But he does. He deserves.
Give us your Hobie pitch right now, Coach. Give us the Hobie pitch.
But it's not a it's just him. Like he leads the nation scoring, but he does he is the safest scorer you'll ever see. Like all now with analytics and everything, we know who manages the puck well and who's just looking for cookies and who is going to be really close, like really dialed in at the blue lines. He's the best one. Like he is. You look at his analytics, he is the safest scorer you will ever be around. And to me, even more important than that is like just how hard he works, and not just one way. Like when you talk about great back checkers, like he does that. He does those things that the bench goes, oh man, like that guy's going. It doesn't show up in the box scores, but he does so many effort-based things that I think set him apart from any scorer like that I've had. Like we've had some really good ones. He's special that way. Simon Mack he's for us, he's setting records from a defensive standpoint, and he's Doc. We call him Doc. He's an unbelievable person. He's pre-med, and he's a guy that was given nothing. Like it's so great. Coaches love guys like this because he was given nothing. Absolutely nothing. And he just had to work his way in. Every time he got better, earned his ice time, to now he's a leader on the team, a leader on the ice, getting great stats. And you look at, again, like his analytics are extremely high. He's got great points too, but his analytics are better. So Arseni, I mean, he's the guy, he's the man. Like he talks to the guys. He is such a fit. He's such a cool guy. He competes so hard at everything, like really hard, really hard, and he's fun. And so the guys love him. He's a great goalie, obviously, really great. But it's the fact that he's just such a cool teammate and just loves to compete, which I think has really been a part of his success. And then, speaking of guys that just compete and love it, Charlie Serrato is up for freshman of the year. I think he's I don't know, he might be one of the, if not the highest scoring freshman in the nation. And he's another guy. He wasn't given anything. He said, hey, you want his brother actually is a super smart guy who goes here as an engineer. And he loves, I think he knew a lot about Penn State and how fun it is, but he was like, hey, I'll come. All I want is an opportunity. That's all we promised him. And he's taken everything and just worked hard. And he's such a competitor. Look what he's doing now. It's pretty impressive. So those guys, yeah, they deserve all the press they could get.
Serrato, third in the nation in freshman
pretty good,
scoring.
Huh?
Pretty good. Yeah. And you got another guy there, JJ. How do you say his last? Weibush? Weibush.
Yeah.
You got two freshmen that are lighting it up together on your squad. And just looking at that, I like, even in those highlights, like you guys are on like highlight of the night. We're getting goals. We're getting action. We're showing, the crowd at your games right now through some of these major games and punch outs of some of these big time teams. I'm seeing the kid with the penalty shot the other night. Was that Serrato? He just twirling his stick. He's chirping the bench. They booed him out of the game. Just electricity, like swagger, man. Swagger. So you've built this thing, and then you have these players, like you said, that feel good in this environment with this team that you have. And a credit to you. You left yourself off the list too, which is up for Coach of the Year as well.
Well, I tell you what, the guys like you talk about atmosphere and how these guys play. I tell you what, the alumni that came here, they wanted to be like lead the nation scoring. That like fun. They wanted to get after. They wanted to go hard, and I think they will never let us not do that. And so, you come here, you better be ready to play some offense and to get a little bit dirty, because that's what's expected of us. And hey, we don't have to only coach it; we have to watch it, and I think it's pretty fun to watch. And we don't mind seeing the highlight reel goals and the sellies. That's good stuff. That's fun.
It's awesome,
Coach. We're talking about awards and accolades, and your son is having an incredible season at Army. I think he's a freshman. I had the chance to meet him when I did the Chicklets U Army video. I believe he's up for Defenseman of the Year in the Atlantic, but he has looked incredible. How proud are you to see that? And obviously, sending him up to Brian Riley, who is just an amazing coach in his final season, that had to be part of the decision to go up to Army. But how proud are you in seeing how great of a season he's having?
Well, I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity for two things. One, for him to be coached by Coach Riley. You met him, the
best.
I mean, he is the best. And you hear that all the time. You've heard it for decades. Like, talk about a guy who's really going to mentor his players and develop them as leaders. Like, he is the very best. And I think that probably West Point is the very best of that as well. Like, what a perfect match. You got just such a fine man, and it's an institution that really prides itself on developing leaders. So honestly, as a dad, I'm just extremely grateful for the opportunity that Mac has had to play for Coach Riley at West Point. It's been, I couldn't be happier.
Is he past his draft year? Like, there could be a chance that he hears his name called in a couple months.
No, he's too old.
He's too old now?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's better. Free agent. Go wherever the bigger money is and the better opportunity now. But while we're on your boys, Mac and Magnus, they both went to Avon Old Farms. Our Vegas insider, Migliori, put that place on the map. Part of the reason you sent them there, another legendary coach too to play with.
Yeah, and again, you talk about, I know the brotherhood and the culture that they develop. That's why. I mean, it was something that really turned both of them on as to when they visited, like just the brotherhood of the place, and they really liked that. And I think both of them, that was their. I think part of why they ended up at the colleges they did, Mac at West Point and Magnus at Amherst, were really tight, like brotherhood places that had a blast together. And yeah, that's a big part of it. And Avon is a perfect example. Absolutely.
I saw in the chat, Coach, Johnny Laz from Morning Cuppa, he put in there, he got some info that you were given Wednesdays off. And from what he's saying in the chat, like that doesn't happen often, or the Wednesday's day off for the boys. Like, is that something, like, where'd that come about and why? And how's it obviously working?
Well, it's not a given. I'll tell you that. It's not a given at all. And George Lewis, he's our director of ops, and he sort of looks at the schedule. So whenever he'll change around. It's not a given by any means, but when it happens, it's pretty good. He will OTB the boys with a Monday off once in a while, as they love that too. But at this time in the season, look, it's a long season, right? So I think that if you have the right group that has fun together, but does it in a good way, I don't think having a day off once in a while is a bad thing at all.
Oh, old school a little bit there from you. Hey, Coach, you little old school.
I'm learning.
Those weeks can be long when you're going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You got 5 lines battling each other just to play one game. Even sometimes Friday, we play just Saturday. Those are tough. So I like the idea of that Wednesday off. That's something I can get on board with. One thing we got Army here. His son Cruz, he's out at Mount St. Charles. How old did the kid have to be to get the commitment from you?
So
just wondering. You're just wondering.
Yeah, just randomly wondering this.
Just wondering. Yeah, I mean, we can talk to them when they're going into their junior year. We can't offer until, I should know this, January 1 of now that they were in their junior year. So yeah, I guess that's usually right around 16.
Coach, but how difficult is that? Like 16 years old, I was 5'1", 90 pounds. Like, I don't get
Still are.
It's hard.
Yeah, I'm still at, but like how can you tell like that a kid at 16 years old is gonna develop into this hockey player? You think 18, 19 is more the age where you'd start looking at these guys, but that's got to be tough.
Honestly, it is. Like, you're right. And there is anybody that says this is what you look for, I think they're full of BS, because there's some guys that are just unbelievable at 16 and then at 20 aren't. And there's some guys that are just completely off the map at 16 and then 20 are awesome. It happens all the time. It really does. And man, if someone tells you they know exactly, like I said, I think they're lying. I think our coaches are fantastic. They look at the character. They do the best to extrapolate. But man, you never know. Like you never know. Sturtsy, like I said, at 19, no one was recruiting him. At 20, he was CHL Player of the Year. At 23, he was signed in the NHL. So it happens. Like, and there's a lot of stories like that. So I think it has to do with if you work your ass off and you love the game, anything can happen.
I love it. Yeah, Cruz is he's got a few people in his ear with the Penn State lean. So it's been really good. It's been awesome. And it's just down the road from us here in Pittsburgh, of course. And we had some kids from the Penn's Elite. I think it was last weekend. I think that came down to played a game there and then stuck around for one of your guys' games. And the videos from that game were electric. So talk about roping kids and doing a good job for the local kids here, being able to be in that experience. Teeing up this weekend, buddy. How are you preparing for this? It's a big rivalry, obviously, and a team that you guys have played probably the most.
Yeah, I think we have in the postseason. Like, Raleigh's a great guy who does a great job, and his teams play real, real hard. So the games we have are always, I mean, they're fun because he goes hard. Our guys go hard, and they're always fun. They're not much chess matches as they are like, let's just go after it. So it's fun hockey. Obviously, they've had a great year. Ohio State they've got talent, they've got grit, they work hard. We like to think we're the same, so it's going to be a good battle.
And it's a one and done elimination.
Yeah, one and done.
Wow.
Yeah, and like you're talking about the format though. I like it because sometimes 2 games, like you said, it's a long year, 2 games. That's where sometimes you can have injuries anytime. But if you go really hard one game, I like that preparation. I do. I like that preparation going in the tournament.
Well, I got 9th time here against Ohio in the playoffs. One and done game tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm just looking at this match. They don't give up a ton of goals. You guys are kind of feeling it right now. Your team's hot right now. And you teed this up, hard-nosed teams going against it. What's the atmosphere like with this rivalry? This will be the 56th meeting all time between your two schools. Obviously, that's got to get these kids' juices going pretty good on both sides, but in particular, your guys.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've played them here. You talked like the atmosphere. I remember one time we've had a whiteout with them here. You got to come to a whiteout, by the way. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. I remember once when Ohio State was here, it was just absolutely off the hook and both teams going hard at it. And when you have experiences like that, no matter if it's, subsequent weekends in the Big Ten or in the tournament after that, like there's a little memory that goes along with it. So trust me, neither staff is going to have to work too hard to get their teams pumped up. That's for sure. And
I'll just leave you with this, Coach. Like, how sick would it be to have an NCAA tournament game at Pagula? Like the neutral site tournament games, they gotta go. I'm the biggest advocate against these, but I just think the best part about college hockey is the traditions, the fans, the band in the crowd. You talk about the whiteout, and I can't imagine a tournament game at Pagula whiteout. Just that would be incredible, wouldn't it?
It was, and I could not agree with you more. Like, it's time to move it because, and it's not on, look, I think we have something really special, obviously, at Pagula, but that's not the only great atmosphere. You go to, like, can you imagine tournament games in so many rinks that you've been to? It'd be just unbelievable. Like, I think it would be the best college hockey experience you could see. And I really hope it happens because just to be a part of it would be so much fun. Yeah, honestly, I could not agree with you more on that point.
Like, even the smaller schools too, like imagine if Army gets in and it's Coach Riley's last year, and they're packing the tape. Like that is how you write a movie right there.
Exactly. It would be like all of them. Like I said, it's really cool here. Very different at Princeton. When I coach at Princeton, to have an NCAA game at Hobie Baker Rink would be unbelievable. It would be unbelievable. So yeah, I really hope it happens. It seems to me like it's past due.
Well, 2 hours and 40 minutes to Allentown, where it looks like you guys could end up as long as things stay as planned. My last question. We all love the Chicklets. You did a phenomenal job. Probably helps your recruiting. How much money did you give G? How much cash did he get? Because he didn't share any of it with us.
You know what? I can't speak to what happened after hours when they went out. Like I said, a lot of guys started to tell me stories, and they're like, "Oh no, I can't talk about that one." I said, "Well, what? Well, I can't talk about that either." So I'm sorry, man. You're gonna have to talk to Schoner. I'm in the dark on this one.
I'll say this: Schoner showed me a better time at Penn State than I have had at any other school. So that's all you need to know about the night me and Ben had. And Coach, how awesome is it to see, season off last year? He's been dealing with so many injuries. For him to bounce back and have the season that he's having, that's gotta be awesome to see.
It's a really feel-good story. Like the truth is, and when he was there, like honestly, we weren't sure he was going to walk. Like I remember talking to when it first happened, and when they did the X-rays and talk about what kind of surgeries he needed. I was like, well, when do they play? Like, look, man, we're just going to try to get him to walk. And that's really what it was about. So we didn't even mention hockey for so long. So to see him come back and play so well, and I remember his first goal, was just wonderful to see. What a kid. It's good. I feel really good for him.
How can you not?
Great job, buddy.
All I got, G. You got anything
That's
else,
all I
Arm
got.
Dog?
No, I'm pumped.
Unbelievable.
We're all rooting for you.
Coach is chilling. He's cool. He's calm. He's Mr. Penn State. He is a Nittany Lion. Been there the whole time. Big semifinal game once again for people in the chat, all our viewers and listeners. Check it out tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern time against Ohio State semifinals, trying to punch their ticket versus, who is it? Michigan State against Notre Dame on the other side.
Correct.
So good luck, buddy. We'll be watching. You've captured a lot of people's attention this season with your team and the progress that you guys have made as the year's gone on, and to an absolute explosion through the second half of the season. It's just been so fun to watch. And looking forward to more tomorrow night, buddy.
Hey, I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. Great. Good luck.
Thanks, Coach.
What a beauty.
That's a big get, G.
What a guy.
Thank you, G. That's a big setup for us for college hockey weekend. Turned into an extravaganza because I think Pasha has the graphics back there, because this weekend it's not only the conference tournament starting, but there's the women's Division I NCAA tournament started up last night, I believe. We got the bracket there. Wisconsin is the number 1 seed. I also saw a graphic where they have all three finalists.
Three players, yeah.
For the Player of the Year award, which is something crazy. So there it was. The graphic was there for a second. You see Wisco number 1. They're playing Clarkson, BU winner. I got to shout out the girl on Clarkson, Haley Wynn. She won Player of the Year, I believe, for the ECAC. I coached with her and coached her when I was in Rochester for that year I was coaching. She was an amazing kid, amazing family. Her brothers were helping out with us too. And she's turned out to be quite the player. The work ethic on her was amazing. But the other side, you got Cornell got a bye. You got Ohio State with the bye. And you see all the other teams there. Colgate, little New York school that's done pretty well.
Be nice to see Penn State beat St. Lawrence for another Penn State-Ohio State matchup. That would be great for the game.
Pretty incredible at Penn State. That was great. Gadowsky's the man. That was so great. Penn State's popping off. It's so cool to see. And even on the women's side as well, as you just pointed out, G. So get Ohio State, Penn State going again. That would
sorry, St. Lawrence beat Penn State 4-1. Clarkson beat BU 3-1. These were all last night. Should have had them.
Oh, they happened last night.
Let's see if Haley did anything. No, Haley, she's just taking care of business on the D side, and they moved on. Minnesota Duluth 6-1. So little update there on our bracket. I should have probably sent that over today. That's my bad. Next up is the Division III men's bracket I saw come across my desk. some good schools on there that seem like to be the big ones. Did that one
This
get
is up
popped
G's
there?
alley. This is up
No
G's
Plymouth
alley.
State this year. Plymouth State made their run last year. It sucks to see them not on there this year. But you know, Curry, Fitchburg State. I heard Oswego is a nuts environment. It's one of the craziest D3 environments to play in. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be nuts. I think I'd like to see Oswego make a run here.
Yeah, Oswego's out near Syracuse, small place, always a perennial Division III team. Hamilton, a little place in New York too. SUNY Geneseo, Utica. New York is just dominating the Division.
How do you go there, Merles and G? Like, what's this process? Like, you don't get a Division I, you go Division III, and then what? There's ACHA too at some of these other schools wherever you can go.
Yeah.
Is that how it operates? Kind of, it's like the American League a little bit.
Yeah, there's basically no Division II for whatever reason. I know for a little bit there was a couple teams that classified as Division II, but I think they got rid of all that. So it's really strange.
There is still a
D1 or
Division
D3.
II. There is Southern New Hampshire, and there's I believe AIC is moving to Division II. I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah. So we just wanted to shout out those other colleges and those teams and those players before we get to the biggest news in the college hockey world.
Your shirt. Is there something with your shirt?
RPI. And it just so happens that today is 3/14. Pi. You guys know the number for pi. 0.134. Look at this little graphic I threw together. That's me on the right there. Number 19. A couple of the current players there. Tapper, 72. And I forget the other kid, 24. But there's our nice Houston Fieldhouse. Big giving day. Go on that website right there. Put in a few bucks. We're more about showing how many people we have in our RPI army, kind of like our chat army, just to give these president and AD who are doing a phenomenal job there. There's a lot of support there, and our coaches. A lot of coaches want this job.
How's the coaching going, Merles? How's it going? What's the update?
I keep my sources tight here. This is. I'm an insider now. I got to keep my sources tight here, but it's a good job. It's the ECAC. It's a place with a lot of tradition. We've won 2 NCAA titles. Not a lot of schools can say that. Yes, we've had some down years. The past president was not into hockey. She did not put anything towards hockey. The new president is an RPI graduate, a fan of hockey. His sons all played hockey out in Massachusetts. Dr. Schmidt. Our AD, Christy Bauer, she came from BU, obviously a decent hockey school. So hockey is back at RPI. We're on our way back up there. So get on there, support us. Let's go Red.
Oh my gosh, Merles. I love it. Merles, can people send in resumes for this coaching job? Like, this is a good advertisement for it. Or you guys have out-of-pocket coaches kind of selected, you're like, oh, let's let we got these guys. Or is this
RPI can't be taking coaching resumes from the chat right now? I think we got to set the bar a little higher.
Sigsy's coaching next year. Can you imagine?
But
I'm sure
I got a couple for you.
Yeah,
I got a couple options for you, and I'd love to hear what you think of them.
I love it.
So number one, I just mentioned AIC, just a very, very tough situation that happened with AIC this year. Unfortunately, the school decided to basically drop the Division I team from Division I to Division II. Eric Lang, a great coach at AIC. He falls under the Brian Riley at Army coaching tree. I think he would be a great fit. I believe his contract isn't up with AIC, but I can't imagine he would go to Division II with them. He's probably going to have a bunch of Division I offers. Eric Lang, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Eric Lang, he's definitely on everybody's top 5 list, I would say. He's a name that everybody's surprised what he could do in AIC. Not only is it Springfield, Massachusetts, but it was a small school. They used to be club hockey, actually. My brother was at Springfield College. That's who they would play in club hockey. So him being available is definitely a name that got people talking, that's for sure.
Merles, I got a guy. Just thought of him.
Michel Terrien
lives near the area, very familiar with the area and the school. I think a lot of people could rally behind it. Has coaching experience, but more importantly, a great mind for coaching operations, how things should run, how things should go. A very dialed in, detail-oriented guy. Only downfall, humming, very addiction to humming, hums all the time. This guy, like, you know, I could just picture him in front of it. That's the only one thing, public speaking. Merles, throw your hat in there, big boy. You should be coaching RPI. You should be the guy. I don't care what it is. You got a young family. It's a perfect opportunity. You're the hockey guy. You
moving
know
back
how
to
run
Troy
it.
already. You're already moving back.
Yeah, the house is being built. The foundation's getting dug, I think, next week.
I mean, is the foundation getting dug at RPI also?
Yeah,
Coach Merles is perfect. The chat is bombing off right now. Coach Merles from Laura. RPI needs a guy like you with passion. That's a hockey guy that's connected, that's dialed, that can recruit, that can do all that stuff. Day-to-day practice, planning, you know, going through it, how you transition through the season, development, all that shit. You can do all that, buddy. Throw your hat in there.
And I will say this,
appreciate
if coaching isn't it, these schools are hiring GMs now. They're hiring GMs to run their programs. I think you'd be a fantastic GM.
I appreciate all that, guys. Yeah, I mean, I definitely would be a dream scenario. That's why I was asking the coach so many recruiting questions, because that's the only thing I don't have any experience in. I don't know anything about the NCAA rules and recruiting. I got recruited so long ago.
And you probably have to have a degree too, Merles. You might not.
I got my, I graduated in 3.5 years. I'll let you know. My second semester, senior year, I didn't have to take any classes.
Well, then you're set up. You're dialed.
That's why we won so many games that second semester. I didn't have to go to school anymore.
Miggs is just waiting by the phone for you to call him and say, Miggs, quit your job. You're becoming my assistant coach, and you are my now lead recruiter. He's travel around the country and recruit kids.
Yeah,
but Merles, one more
I would need like a legitimate old timer recruit, like assistant that knows the ins and outs. And you know, I got Benny Barr, the #1 coach in college hockey, on my favorites list on my iPhone, so he would always help me out.
That was a ball drop at RPI. That was a ball drop.
That was the pre-administration, the former president and former AD. They completely spoiled that, but we've put that behind us. We're on. We're building. We're going up.
has the gargoyles.
Yeah.
We, with you involved, will now be RPI. How about that?
We got pro team, a college
big
team.
Microphone to talk into every Friday at noon on game notes to pitch to kids and families and I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah. Hey, Coach Prime did it right with Barstool. He coached there. Look at them.
Exactly.
They turned it around.
Coach Merles, one more name. I got one more name. And it's, again, falls under the Brian Riley coaching tree. His son, Brett Riley, 33 years old, 20 wins this past year at Long Island University. Again, we talk about not getting easy to get players to come to Springfield. Not easy getting players to come to Long Island University. Only a program for 5 years. And this kid's already got 20 wins under his belt this season. And like I said, his dad's legendary coach, Brian Riley. I think he would be a great fit in Troy.
I just had an NHL scout send me his name and suggest him and what he's done down there. Young guy doing stuff without not a lot of resources, and it's RPI. We're a different thing. It's our school. You have to worry about the academics. You can only get certain kids in there. It's a smaller school. We're playing in the ECAC, so there's a lot of hoops that you got to jump through compared to say, I don't know what Long Island is like, or Quinnipiac or AIC. I mean, these are places where it's easier to get kids to come into. RPI, there's a small group of kids that have the grades to get in. So that's always an obstacle too. And, it's Troy, New York. It's a unique spot. Only guys like me and Benny Barr really love being there, and hoping to get you guys there next year. I know we tried this year to get us there for the Chicklets U, but next year, 100%, we're in for that big red freak out. That one's getting circled, dotted. Army, you won't be working TNT that night. We're going to make sure you're there.
I want to
show you it all. But yeah, exciting times for RPI. And of course, we're nerds, but do you get this whole thing that RPI, like PI is pie and then 314? Yeah.
Are your nerds yelling pie in the crowd? Is that at your school? I remember that. Is that an RPI when there's 3 minutes and 14 seconds left on the clock? All the guy, like the crowd, go pie in the crowd.
I would not be surprised if it's us, but I feel like maybe Harvard does that.
Is that Harvard?
I think
maybe
Harvard.
That's what it was. It was Harvard. They yell pie when it's 3.14 on the clock.
But we have the best. We have the best like pep band for the games. It's insane. And when I played, they were on a stage directly behind the opposing team's net. And that's one change we have to get done right away, because those teams would come in warm-ups. These guys are playing the giant tubas and trombones, right? Like the whole game right in the goalie's ear. It's a great thing. It makes the atmosphere amazing. So
Best part of college hockey is the bands.
Yep. So that's number one on our change list once the coach is in there.
Merles, what's the process of this like? Is it like pretty alumni driven with the DA or AD? Sorry. Is that how it's working in unison? How is this operating right now for this job? Like, you got a pretty good inside track.
Yeah, it's it's up to AD Christy. She's just starting on it. When did it happen? On Monday or Tuesday, the news dropped, and it's always tough. It's tough to let somebody go from their job, somebody with a family, but it had to be done, and now it's done. So now she's on the process of talking to all of them, talking to hockey people. She talks to me just maybe because I've been in hockey. I know so many people. Like I like to say, there's positives of playing on 50 different teams and being a suitcase. I got to meet 100,000 players throughout my career. So I know a lot of guys, and I've told them I'm available. Call me anytime. If you want to hear about a guy or this guy or thoughts on anything, I'm available. I'm here for the team. And, I am so busy, Arby. You know this.
You're so busy. I mean, the things you do all day are just, it's like amazing that you have time to even take her phone calls. Like when I try to get a hold of you, it's kind of like that situation. But this might be a situation, and I could see it, G, is these things start to progress, and you're the guy, and you're involved. And a light bulb goes off in her head, and she's like, what am I doing here? He's sitting right here. Like this has happened several times. There's advisors all over the place that advise things, and all of a sudden teams are like, why are we conducting this entire thing? This guy, like, if you're using them for the advice and they know all this stuff, why are we not just getting him?
Let me be your agent here, Merles.
Yes.
Let me be your agent.
He's a perfect agent.
Game notes. I think, what's the endowment look like at RPI? They got to be bringing in some big bills.
Yeah, I'm not sure on all that. I'm not privy to all that kind of information, but we can get it cooking. The tuition is through the roof. I mean, I might have to take the job just so my kids have somewhere to go to school. I don't have to pay the tuition.
Yes, I mean, it's perfect. It's perfect, buddy. And you're going to be right in, as Timmy Connolly calls it, Troilet, in the Troilet.
The Troilet in Rensselaer County. We got good things going on. We got a new mayor there. We got the hockey rinks opening up. Hockey's becoming a big thing there. We're getting it going again. And thank you guys for all the support out there. But we can move on to the NHL, is what some of the people are saying. I'm sure.
Yes.
Real quick, I fucked up. Brett Riley is Brian Riley's nephew, not his son. So I just want to clear that up before I pop out of here.
Bloodline secure, though. Bloodline secure.
Bloodline. Great college hockey extravaganza, though.
Yeah, great games coming up. I mean, semifinal. Like, I mean, everything's happening. I'm pumped that we got Gadowsky on too, just because they've been just making such waves on the hockey scene at that level, and it's kind of surpassed NCAA even with like the highlights, the players, the run, everything. So you got it right here on Game Notes, one of the hottest teams in the country right now, and they do play tomorrow night. So stay tuned for that. What's going on in the NHL, Merles? What do we got? What's going on here?
Yeah,
we got action.
I mean, I brought the jersey out of the closet, number 29, Colorado Avalanche, and now I'm not asking for the Rolex anymore. He got to 1,000 points. Now he can have the number free of charge. I've given him the number.
We love this. We love these milestones. Free of charge number. Finally earned it by hitting this milestone. Congratulations to the dog, Nate Mackinnon. He did get his 1,000th point, but did you see that? It was So everyone pours onto the ice in this. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen something like that for a milestone like that of a player of that ilk, where it was like called off. And I think I've told this before. It reminds me Jim Ralph's story of a little skit he does. He's the color analyst for the Toronto Maple Leafs for years and years and years with Joe Bowen, and I've seen him at a few banquets, and he does a little skit where he's imitating the call of Bobby Orr scoring the goal flying through the air, and oh no, hold it, yep, there's going to be a review for offside. And it's like hilarious. And that's what happened with Nate McKinnon, this 1,000th point, but he ended up automatic getting it later. What a career he's on right now. What a milestone to get. And of it all, probably the greatest thing is being able to securely having number 29 now. It's a not in question, Merles, that you've relinquished the rights.
Yeah, that's how to do it. Other news, different kind of news down in Florida. The Ekblad 20-game suspension, performance enhancing substances. So he got into something a little more than the Russian gas and got picked up on it. I found it interesting that he's up for a contract this year. So maybe he was trying to take a little something else, like, screw it. I'm going to try to get everything I can out of this year. Maybe took a little extra supplement that he shouldn't have. But also interesting how I think the team must have known, and that's why they really made a push to go get Jones, a big righty defenseman.
Yeah, and you see that play he made last night, keeping the puck in against the Leafs. They beat the Leafs last night, and Max Domi was just throwing around Nate Schmidt. But yeah, that's a massive kick is no Ekblad right now. Did you see his what he said in his statement that, like, he was rehabbing his injury from last year, a big injury that took him out, and must have had something in there. He took full ownership for taking, something that, was flagged on these tests that they have to take. So 20 games, Sussy, that's a big one. 18 games left. It will run into playoffs too, Merles. 2 games into the playoffs without the big Viking on the back end. And he's been obviously a big part, not only with Montour leaving this year, but as a guy until they did pick up Jones and were able to get him and make that work. So blessing to be able to go and get a guy like Jones with a suspension like that. I don't know what it is. I don't know. That's why I didn't take supplements, Merles. I didn't take protein shakes, nothing. That's why, if anything, I would have got pinched for whatever hormones they pump into the meat at McDonald's when I was making those Mickey D's runs. That's what it would have been.
I was afraid of that, and I never worked out because I figured the less muscles I have, the less muscles you can tear and pull and stuff. So, if you don't have if you don't have abs, then you can't pull an ab. So, like, why would I do abs? I don't want to get hurt. So I stayed a body like a bag of milk. You push a bag of milk, it can't break. The carton of milk breaks all the time because it's too hard.
Guys that were always jacked always got, like, I found, like, those little, like, jacked injuries, like, I tore my bicep. Like, what the fuck you doing tearing your bicep, dude? Like, how are you making this work? Or it's like, I'm sick because you're so healthy and you keep eating and drinking like specialized shit. Like, get some grease in the joints, get some crap in your system, like
get some booze in there to kill some of those.
You got to kill some of this stuff and build up your immune system. You're not like a robot. You've got to be humanized. You're out in the public. You got to, do some greasy stuff. You got to get it in you and build it up. That's why you got to do it.
Moving as coach of RPI, the boys will be working out, though. You guys will be working out.
Yes. Yeah, the chef in there is a hamburglar. Flipping.
Hey guys,
burgers.
Army got you guys lunch today. Here's a little NIL package from Army.
We hired this new chef. He's really cheap. He's unbelievable. Sorry he wears this outfit. I don't know what he's doing here, but I love it. One thing I do want to say about the NHL right now too, and we see contracts, lots of talk about the Marner thing, Merles, and the league, and what we're seeing through the years is wingers getting paid more, wingers being the new, wingers are the new centermen, Merles. Mm-hmm. And you and me, both wingers. And as the games transit, like, you see players like, we see some of these bigger teams maybe banging around on the boards and getting on the forecheck and the O's. Everything's like high in the offensive zone now. Everything on the D zone too is winger or D-men pinching down the walls, constant pressure right above guys, moving up, closing down time and space, and like just going and standing on the wall, ass against the wall, getting a pass, touching it to the centerman with low speed because he's working both corners and low and in good position. It's not like that anymore. Teams are more hybrid, man on man all over. You're having to do more. And now we look at the top producers in the NHL and you go down the list, and a lot of them, the big boys, as we get a look at this, a lot of them are wingers. Wingers are producing now. And you look back to the guys like Panarin, right? You go through some of the lists of guys over the years that have been, Patty Kane. He kind of was like a wave of like big winger production guy that was like outside of the realm a little bit in the new age modern game, transitioning of skill and production off the wings that was like elite. Now we're seeing it here. And so now we're seeing contracts for wingers, going way up as well. As if you wanted to get paid, you had to be a defenseman or a centerman, right, Merles, as a player?
Yep.
I think those are like, you'd be a big-time defenseman, you're getting paid. You could be like an okay defenseman and get paid. If you're a winger, you're a grinder, and like you're not as valued. Now these wingers looking at this and going down it are valued. They're valuable producers and players in the way the modern game is. So I think the wingers are the new centermen. The wingers are the new big producers. The wingers have just as much responsibility defensively and all this stuff because the game is just so different now in the way it's played. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll expand on that because I noticed the guy in the bottom there, Cale Makar. Now these wingers have to cover a guy like Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes. It's not like the D we used to cover, 6'6". They would just stand there and rip slap shots. So it was an easy job in the D zone. Now the D zone's a mess. These guys are opening the hips. What's he call it? What's Biz call him? Shakira across the blue lines. Blah blah blah. So I can get down with that. The point numbers are right there. Is Jesper Bratt really ninth, or did Pasha sneak that in there, being the Devils super fan?
He might have snuck it in.
No, that's legit. He is the real deal, boys. I've been telling you.
Questioning that one for sure.
You've been telling us a lot, bud. You've been telling us a lot.
That is true.
Crazy Devils fan right there, ladies and gentlemen, sitting in the background.
I love this. I love this, Army. You went for the league minimum to get pushed up, and now you're pushing for the wingers to get pushed up. You're all about the people.
I'm all about the guys. I'm all about the guys that deserve it. I'm all about, looking at the bottom end guys, making sure they're fed. I'm all about the wingers getting what they deserve. And looking at this list of the last number of years, you're going to find wingers through those lists that are commanding more. The game is different. The pay is different. The wingers are the new centermen. The wingers, everything goes through the wingers. The wingers make everything happen. It's just the way the game is right now. And so it's interesting seeing that. I love your point about active, crazy defensemen right now that are so different with the way teams attack and play in the offensive zone. It's just way different. And so it's a more valuable position, or has pushed itself into being in that conversation. There's no question when you look at what's going on and what they have. I like that. And I'm going to make that a thing now. That's a thing. Yep. Minimum's totally up to $1 million, and wingers are paid through the roof now. They're the new centermen. Thank you for coming.
They're the paid same. Another guy just got paid. Breaking news. Aiden Hill, 6 times 6.25. 2 nights ago or 3 games ago, whenever it was, and they played the LA Kings, I wouldn't have paid the guy the league minimum that you want to get raised to $1 million. He was brutal. But then last night he gets a shutout and a new deal. He's my guy. I need him. I need him to win the playoffs. I need him. That's the only way I'm going to get this foundation paid for in the new house is if they win the Stanley Cup. So congrats to Aiden Hill on the contract, and shut out every game the rest of the year for me, please.
There you go. Yeah, big win last night against Columbus Blue Jackets, who are fighting and battling and trying to hang around, and they come out in 4-0 shutout. Then he wakes up this morning. He's got a new contract, 6.25? Is that what he got? 6.
Yeah, it was 6.6 before the game, and then when he got the shutout, it moved to 0.25 for him.
6 times 6, and then they gave him an extra $250,000 a year because of the shutout. Yeah, that's great. Merle's cool. Math right there. Love
nice
it, buddy.
Team. I like that Vegas team for that. Next up, we got to do our all game notes team. And this week, we always put a little twist on it for you people. This team is all guys that were traded on the deadline or maybe a day before the deadline.
I love it. I love looking at this. So guys that have new places, new faces, and new places, and throwing them down here with what they've been able to do. I'll get it going. Rantanen in 2 games. He's got 2 goals, 1 assist. Now in Dallas, the Rantanen craziness is over. Traded twice in a matter of like 3-4 weeks with the whatever before the 4 Nations. He was surprised by the trade. They got through it. Things are still trying to come out of there with that gong show that happened in Carolina and the trade that happened, not having him signed, dealing with all that. But now in Dallas, and Dallas looks good, and he looks like he's fitting there. So 2 goals, 1 assist, 2 games.
Yep. And next up, Buffalo Sabres are going to regret this one like they have so many in the past. Dylan Cousins in Ottawa now, 4 games, 2 goals, 2 assists, a +5. Looks like he's having the time of his life. Unbelievable move by Ottawa. He's a perfect fit there on the second line center.
And Cody Glass, ex-Penguin, he has bumped around. I think he was like a 5th overall pick in his draft year as well. and has bounced around a little bit. And now at the deadline, traded New Jersey, 3 games, 1 goal, 2 assists, and a +4 rating. Just a really smart, dependable, reliable player. When you watch him, you're like, there must be more there. There has to be more there through his NHL career. He's big too. Great personality, by the way. Had him on TNT post game, scored on his first game with the Devils. But a guy looking for something to kick off, and maybe can he do it with all the big injuries going on in New Jersey? And we might find Pasha with a Cody Glass jersey by the end of the year.
Yeah, doing happy for that guy. Next up, Casey Middlestad out in Boston. We had to do the 4 forwards. Couldn't find a good enough D, and I wanted to get him out there. 3 games, 1 goal, 2 assists. Looks good there. Boston, they haven't had a little skilled center probably since Mark Savard, maybe. So it's cool to have a skilled little center. He's not too physical. So I think it's a good change for him. He's not the typical Boston Bruin, but nice little mix for him there. And he's done well so far.
Jake Wallman, Edmonton, couple big boomers. He actually ended up, I think, wallpapering Rantanen pretty good as well. The gritty guy. He ends up in Edmonton, 3 games there, couple assists, +3 as well. He brings some swagger to that back end. He can skate. He can headman pucks and make things happen for them. I think a decent pickup as a team that was looking for some defense help, and he's come in and man, I like physicality too, Merles. Like that hit on Rantanen was a monster. It could have been worse had he been a little angrier when he hit him, but nonetheless, good physicality.
Rantanen's a big boy. Next up, goaltender Vitek Vanacek down in Florida, backing up Bob. I mean, it was a shutout against the Sabres, but again, it was only him and Peter Mrazek traded. So you get a shutout in your 1 game for your new team. You're on the Game Notes team of the week, even though it was against the Sabres.
Yeah, an honorable. What do we got here? Oh, rookie. Sorry, I jumped ahead. Logan Stankoven, 2 games, 1 goal, +2 in Carolina. Better fit probably overall. A guy you don't want to lose, and young, just starting his career, but having success. I think he'll fit in real good there. So Carolina, enjoy the stanky leg.
And then I had a little honorable mention on there I was going to leave for you. It's your guy. You got to see him last night.
This guy's like, he's back. He's been a good goalie, has struggled through this season, actually been really bad through this season, had been sent down to find himself 2-week stint in Wilkes-Barre, back up, never been able to get his feet under him for whatever it was mental or something with his goal to confidence. He just hasn't been able to. 4 Nations tournament happens and he gets called up. Blomqvist goes down. And he's rattled off, and they put him in. He's rattled off 3 wins in a row. He's been an absolute brick wall. He's different. He's confident. He's out at the top of his crease. His body language is different, and it's just he's a new guy. I don't know what happened. I don't know what changed for him personally. I'm gonna find out. But he's absolutely on fire right now for the Penguins, and a reason why they've knocked off some pretty darn good teams. St. Louis last night, the Golden Knights, and Minnesota, all in those 3 starts for him. So you love to see a good guy and a good story of a guy rebounding and finding his way back. Good Western guy right there.
Good Western boy. That puts a wrap on.
I got one more guy. I just got one more guy I got to add. And I don't know if I think Pasha, I think he slipped in Brat onto the thing. We go Cody Glass, Brat, he got the New Jersey tilt. And knowing him, there's a guy that's probably leader in the clubhouse right now on the new team that he's with. It didn't happen on the deadline. It was a little bit before, but he's absolutely lighting it up. If we could get that graphic up right now, and you look at the Natchez move. Natchez has 1 more game played than this guy. Natchez has 17 games played. He only has 6 goals. They have the same amount of points, but the goals trump over top of that in 1 less game as well. Shooting percentage through the roof, but we know the kind of shot he has, and single-handedly what he's been doing for the Rangers. I like he's one of those guys, right? We know what he can do, and he is producing. He's found a home in New York. He is the guy right now, Pasha. He is the guy in New York right now. They're loving him there, and look at the production. Look what he's got. Pasha, speak for yourself here. Speak to this. This is just insane.
Warning, the following statements are about to be made by a deranged Devils fan. The views expressed are his and his only. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt because, remember, he is a deranged Devils fan.
Oh, no.
Give me a break with all this Miller stuff. I mean, the guy's shooting 27%. That's just not sustainable. So that's sustainable, right there. That's not sustainable. You act like they've been a wagon since he's been there. They've lost 4 of the last 5. They got nuked by Columbus in the biggest game of the year. He was -3. I have never chirped Miller's offensive numbers. You know I haven't. I've chirped the defense, the commitment to that, the body language, and the in the locker room stuff. The numbers have always been there. I've never chirped the numbers. So sweet. He's racked up a few points, and they've lost a ton of games, and they're going to miss playoffs, and they gave up assets for him. Sweet. Have fun with that.
Okay, just pointing out that of all the guys that got traded, he's leader in the clubhouse. Interesting
Well,
to see.
he got traded like a month ahead of everyone else, so it's quite a head start.
It is quite a head start, but the point per game production, goals, assists, what he's been able to do there as a new player on the scene. Big win last night for the Rangers, by the way.
Tied for the last playoff spot too.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but he is carrying more than his weight and what he should be in New York.
But I will say this. Happy birthday, JT Miller.
Oh, that's very nice of you, Pasha.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Not so deranged after all.
No, this is the hockey and life are separate, and I'm not a fan of him, the hockey player, but I hope he has a lovely birthday.
Wow, that's why I love you, buddy. I love you. I don't care what anyone in the chat says. I love you, buddy. You're the best. There he goes. There he goes, the deranged Devils fan.
Yeah, he's out of there. That's a wrap on last week. Let's look forward to tonight and to the weekend. We're going to start with tonight, and we're going to just look at one game. We're going to try to do something different here for Friday night. We want a win. We need a win, because if we win all our bets, then we're going to give to the RPI fund. What is there? 6 games. You see 6 games there, but Army, you wanted the circle one.
Gosh.
Dallas at Winnipeg, and we're going to break it down. I told you earlier, Dallas money line +114, Winnipeg -135. Got any stats for me, Army, on this one?
Well, this is just a titanic battle. And yes, we see on the slate as well some of those other teams that are playing, for example, Detroit, right? Calgary. These are teams that are in like the West, battling to get in those wild cards, battling to get into playoffs. Both those teams in the East and the West. Those are teams you want to keep an eye on, because we're going to be electric down the stretch here, Merles, with teams like that. But we're talking about 2 absolute juggernaut teams that made moves at the deadline, teams that tried to better their team. Dallas obviously securing Rantanen and having him. And I just look at this game. This piques my interest on so many levels because of that. Like, this is like, in the Western Conference, these 2 teams are right up there with the Colorados and the Golden Knights of those. I don't know what stratosphere level I would put them at, but they're like the tip of your tongue favorites. And so when you get a game like contenders, yes,
contenders, I guess
these teams have met twice already this year. They've each won a game. And so like tonight with these new players in the lineup, this is super interesting to me to see how this game will shake out and what we'll look at. I don't know if you have any betting favorites, odd favorites, what to look at. 8-2-0 is Dallas right now in their last 10. 6-3-1 is Winnipeg. So 2 teams that are rolling pretty good and have been all year long. I'm just looking at this game, primarily the matchup, primarily like just like a measuring stick of 2 behemoths. Is that right?
Yeah, behemoths. Great word. I'm looking at it, the standings wise. Yes, Winnipeg is up 8 points, but they have 2 extra games played. So just say, I know you got to win the games, but give them those 2 games. Say Dallas wins those 2 games. They're at 90 points to 94. And all of a sudden you got this 4-point game here. All of a sudden it's 92 to 94. And we've all talked about it. That 1 seed in that division, you get to avoid Colorado. So this game, Dallas knows that. They're looking at these standings every day. You walk in the locker room, there's that leaderboard. So they know it's a huge game. Winnipeg knows it's a huge game. They don't want to see Colorado in the first round. You'd much rather play the wild card team. So I'm going on Dallas. I'm on the Dallas money line +114. I'm on Robertson point. He's on an 8-game point streak right now. Just feeling it. He's back. He had a rough start. He's back. The power play is unreal. I'll also add Robertson anytime goal at +195. And then I'm going back to one of my playoff props from the last few years, Wyatt Johnson shots, 3+ shots, +120. This is our game of the night. I'm having 4 plays on it. It's big. It's huge for every reason.
I love that. And you know what? It could go either way, but never has it been bigger. Like in the Atlantic, we hear them, you got to finish. You got to win the division. The Leafs, they got to win the division. They got to win the division. And, they lose to Florida last night. And this is like one of those games. Yes. And after the trade deadline, never more so, I think, than what we've seen some of these teams do. And so leading the division has never been more important to avoid that first round matchup against another behemoth team. Looking at these two teams, Merles, Winnipeg power play is out of this world, 31.5% this year, clipping along. Rantanen added. I'm curious to see what that power play at 14th in the league for Dallas will do now, having a Rantanen in the lineup. But looking at the penalty kill, Dallas's penalty kill is number 1 in the NHL, 84.5%. So you're talking about the best PK going against the number 1 power play, special teams battle. Will it come down to that? Oh, just everything is shaping up. Look at these teams, top 5 or top 4 in the NHL, goals against or goals for per game played as well. So you're dealing with two giants here tonight in every facet and every factor of the game. I can't wait to watch this one. 8:00 tonight, Eastern time. Going to be a beauty.
Pasha G, do you guys got a pick on this game for us? Nope. Okay, so I'm on Dallas. Are you on your Jets? You sticking with your
I'm going Jets, baby.
All right.
I got Jets. I'm with Colby. I got the Jets.
Jets. All right.
Sneaky Jets. And, we made this a college extravaganza show today, Merles, but I wanted to, because of that game, I would have loved to have had a Jets guy on. We got to find a Jets guy, like an oldie, that oldie guy they had on, that unbelievable
TFT's guy, Canadian guy. Yep.
He's unbelievable. We got to find a Jets guy like oldie, a guy that's just a Jets fan that could come on and just give us the breakdown of the Jets and where they're at and give them their love that they deserve. A quiet juggernaut in this league that no one really talks about. So me and G are on them. Let's go.
We can do a Jets extravaganza next week. We can. That's all we're doing. The rest of the season, it's all extravaganzas. We're going to have the Frozen Four extravaganza. We're going to have the playoff extravaganzas. We'll have the draft extravaganza. We're going to do it all on this show. And you know what's up next, Arb Dog? You see the outline.
I got the outline, baby. And this is all brought to you by Body Armor. It's going to be Show or Minzees segment. Body Armor Flash IV. It's packed with electrolytes and provides faster, longer lasting hydration with no artificial flavors, sweeteners, or dyes. Don't put dyes in there. They don't with Body Armor. With great tasting flavors, strawberry kiwi. There's Merle's with the wide mouth, the drink in the water. He loves it. He's got to hydrate. Tropical Punch. Body Armor Flash IV gives your body the hydration it needs to recover. We all know, we all do this. It's that time of the year too. The sun's coming out. It's getting ready. We're kind of slowly creeping into playoff weather, Merles. And when things start running hard and you start running and you're going crazy and you're working like a dog and you're a weekend warrior and you got beer league at 11:30 at night and you're coming back and you're trying to stay up for the hockey games, Body Armor Flash IV is what you need for all that stuff. Get yours at a local 7-Eleven or on Amazon today. There we are. Body Armor Flash IV, baby. And now roll the graphic.
That was a big time ad read, Army. So you're up first. You get to go first on Army's show.
Here we go. Walt, who's this in the chat? Flash IV saved my ass this week. I got twisted up at an Applebee's watching the Devils game, and it got me through my training the next day. Way to go, buddy. That's what we're talking about right there, buddy. I love it. Great job.
I love the Applebee's. Applebee's. Great drafts there. Draft beers and boneless wings. Oh,
it reminds me of the time in Wilkes when we used to try to find, like, in the Minzees, we used to find like different things we wanted to go try. We've been to all these restaurants. We started going, what was that buffet? Old Country Buffet.
Old Country Buffet.
Oh, fuck. I'd have a hot dog, a taco, a lasagna. And he was
mac and cheese. Oh, yeah. Great mac and cheese.
Like, what do you feel like? You could get whatever you wanted. It was just crazy in there. But we
the
used
ice
to go
cream
to,
machine.
Applebee's and what's the seafood place we all love that's like bankrupt that's trying to come back now that we love? Red Lobster. You go to Red Lobster. Beachy sold me on that. They had these big fish bowls with a claw thing hanging inside the fish bowl, and it was a necklace, like a lobster necklace you would get with the fish bowl. And we'd belly up to the bar there, have a nice delicious seafood lunch, and then get the big fish bowls to drink. Unbelievable, the Miners. That's what it reminds me of when you think of Applebee's and all that stuff. But show or Minzees, Mer.
Yep, let's do it. You're up. I thought you were up. Did you already say yours?
No, I
We
didn't say
would-
mine yet. I'll do it first. Show for me this past little while, we're reminded of how great hockey is and how great hockey is in the state of Minnesota. We saw images of the packed barns, hockey, all hockey hair team that's been buzzing. It always comes around, obviously, this time of year when the high school tournament is on in Minnesota. And I got to give them a huge shout out. I feel like it was just different this year. It just popped this year. The crowds, it's not never given too much attention. But gee, we got to do a Minnesota hockey trip of some kind to experience it. Maybe, I don't know if we
In
can
Army,
do
I
it.
saw a super cool stat. One night it was like the Minnesota high school hockey team tournament beat every NHL team in attendance. They had over 20,000
Wow.
people at the XL Center, and that for that night it beat every single NHL team, which is just
It's unreal.
It's incredible. Like it looks like the coolest thing in the world. I can't imagine being
a
those
kid.
kids
I know.
and getting to play in that. Like that's
Some of these intros were amazing this year. The guy was slapping his face with he had the mullet. The guy had
the kid with smelling salts.
Yeah, the kid was smelling salts. The one kid had the cul-de-sac down the pipe shaved. Like these kids go all out, giving shout outs as they come up and stop, full team theme things. And there's just unbelievable content coming out of that from these kids, but getting to play at that level, representing your area and your school with your best buddies that you go to school with your whole life, the way hockey should be. I hate the way you pop around all these programs and you jump ship every year. And there's always turmoil, or this kid's going there, or that kid's going there. This is the way hockey's supposed to be, playing with your buddies. Families all know each other. They all go to school each other. They play for their school in their area. And it's electric, and a credit to all the people there, to G's point, the attendance, and what it continues to do year after year with the way they play out there. Way to go, all those teams and those schools and the fans and the state of Minnesota. It was awesome to follow, awesome to see. We got to get out there. We got to get out there. I got to see it with my own eyes what this is about.
Yeah, G, while we got you, who do you got going to the show?
It's tough because I didn't know whether this should be show or Minzees, but I wanted to shine a positive light on part of this. And I mentioned it earlier in the show, but the AIC hockey team is, like I said, their school announced that they're basically getting demoted from Division I to Division III. They played their final game this past week, losing in overtime to Holy Cross, just going down with the fight. But I'm calling them up to the show. I think these players have handled this with like the utmost class. And it sucks. You know, you work your whole life to be a Division I hockey player, and then, you know, it's taken out from right under you in the snap of a finger. So it sucks what these kids are dealing with, what Coach Eric Lang is dealing with. But like I said, I think they've handled it with the utmost class. They've handled it incredibly. I hope a bunch of these kids get in the transfer portal and go play at Division I schools, or even for the ones who don't, I'd love to see AIC win a national championship next year. I know they are dropping down, if I'm not mistaken, to Division II. You know, I think there's only 8 teams in there. But yeah, it's a shitty situation that I think the kids and the players are handling very maturely. And yeah, I would call AIC up to the show.
I like it, G. College hockey extravaganza. We're still in it.
Keep it
Pasha,
rolling.
I don't even know if you went to college, but get in here with your show and let us know if you did go to college for all the wizardry.
I did.
you
Yeah,
know.
I went to UBC, the University of British Columbia, in Vancouver. Beautiful, beautiful school there.
I thought you went to
Hockey program?
our Arbutus Club University.
No
I
hockey
kept
team?
applying. They do have a hockey team there,
Okay.
but I don't know how good they are, to be honest. That's might have to get G out there and do an episode there.
Check with you.
Chicklets you, exactly. But my show, I saw this tweet today. I was a little surprised. Ilya Kovalchuk has announced his retirement. This is probably my favorite player of all time in the NHL. I'm not going to lie. I thought he had retired a couple of years ago. I don't know if he was playing in the Chechnyan third league or what, but what a player. This guy at his peak was just electric. These are some under the hood stats, which honestly, I thought, you know, that even strength offense number would be higher for a guy. You know, I knew the defense was going to be red and ugly. The guy did not give one lick about defending, which I respected. But I mean, Armin, you played with him. Just
Oh, yeah.
a true
How
horse,
can you
dude.
respect that? Time out. You just went on a rant about how JT Miller is he sucks, he's great at offense and he sucks at defense.
No, because
you're
you own
okay
it.
with
Because,
Kovalchuk?
no, because you own it, you accept it, and you say this guy's an offensive horse, but he doesn't care about defense. But the Miller thing, people try and act like he's the best player, 200-foot player, blah blah blah. If it was just acknowledged like that, Miller doesn't care defensively, and he's an offensive guy. Fair enough.
That's fair.
That's fair. I like that.
But yeah, anyways, hell of a player, hell of a career. The guy was electric. So I saw that tweet this morning and figured give him one last show as he fades off into retirement. And we talk about Chicklets, great white buffaloes. I would say Kovalchuk is a great white buffalo to get for an interview one day.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, you got to give him a shout out. What a great career and what he did and the way he played in his numbers. Like he was like 6'2", 6'3", like 240 pounds, and he could
was a unit.
fly. He
was
would
like the first
ragdoll.
galloper, just gallop down the wing. Now that
He had that little stick, the big curve. He had that little one-timer back, bleed it back across,
high glove
get it over
every
to.
time.
Oh, he was just unbelievable player, and total electric factory, and very on point to the same feelings I got watching him as the same feelings I got watching like Pavel Bure, kind of the same skater, a little bit electric factory with the way he could play. I remember playing with him though. He'd be out for like a 2.5-minute shift, dogged, tired, but the goalie was pulled and there's a loose puck, and fuck it. If Kovalchuk didn't get to that puck in a foot race, it was unbelievable to put that thing in. But fun teammate, undercover, sneaky, really funny guy too, and like awesome guy.
Didn't you tell me the story about the blue Bentley at practice?
Oh, yeah, he'd park that blue Bentley right up, Thrasher blue, baby blue, powder blue, whatever you want to call it, right at the front door at practice. Last guy to get there, like, first guy to leave. Yeah,
park in the lot, would park right in front of the door.
Right in front of the door.
First guy out.
Yeah, just a legend, absolute legend, just a beauty. He had such like a carefree thing, and one of the main stories I share about him as we talk about him in his retirement now and send him to the show. Yeah, I remember asking him on the bus. I don't know where we were, but I was like, man, like, hey, like if you don't score for like 4 games, like what's that like for you? Because he's a goal scorer. You're supposed to score goals. Like that's what you do. That you're a superstar in this league. And he was so chill. I just sort of like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I could just score 3 goals next game. And I was like, that's like one of those answers where you're just like, yeah, you could. Like, yeah, great point.
Right,
But electric factory and
fun fact, he actually is still hurting the Devils cap. That this is the last year the Devils have like his like Kovalchuk contract recapture penalty on their cap still, which is like the guy hasn't played for the Devils in what 13
that was a
years,
crazy
12 years?
contract too. That was crazy when we traded him there. We got Nicholas Bergfors back for it. It was like, whoa, we're missing like a 50 goal scorer for this one. Like, way to go, Donnie Waddell.
Whoops. I believe Kovalchuk came out of retirement last year. Well, not out of retirement, played last year, just a few games for Spartak Moscow. I don't know. This year he must have now he's not going to do that again this year. That's why that's announced now. But
guys,
moving on. Yeah, he was a stud. My show, college hockey, keeping an extravaganza going, Army. Your new prime minister, bet you didn't know this, was a hockey player. He played 1 game for Harvard. He was a goalie in the ECAC that we've been talking about all day. So right there, see that stat, Mark Jarney, that's your new prime minister, correct?
Carney. Yeah, he just came out of nowhere. No one knows who he is, and all of a sudden he's the prime minister. Trudeau stepped down. Way to go.
There it is. ECAC hockey had it. I think I read the story. It was a 3rd-string goalie. The one goalie got hurt. The second one came in. They were losing 9-1. They wanted to rest him, so he played 1 period or something.
Rowdy in the chat. Mark Jardy.
Mike J. Carney. I don't know. I'm not Canadian. This is why I put it up there for you, Army.
You just read Carney. Come on. Yeah. Like, fuck, buddy.
This is your guy, Canada. All right,
I don't know who this guy is. I'm glad he played at Harvard, though. Good for him.
Yeah, put it on there. College hockey extravaganza. Had to find a way to make my show the extravaganza.
Attaboy.
Minzees, Army. Minzees.
Minzees. We interviewed and had on the show last night for the Penguins game. We had Jason Spezza. Great career. Now the assistant general manager running Wilkes-Barre, where you and I and Witt and Biz played, and Times were great. The stands were packed. Well, not so much over the last few years. It's been a little bit down there for prospects and first round picks. Like we had a overload of talent down there in those times, Merles, as you remember. It was great times. I was ribbing Spez, who played in Binghamton and the Ottawa Senators, and we had great rivalries with them, and just picking his brain about what has changed now and him running things down there. Jason, a pizza, someone says, for Jason Spez. Also the pizza line in Ottawa, with Danny Heatley and Danny Alfredson. So they were honored this year, of course. But he told me, and I'm sending this to the Minzees because they blew my mind. Remember, we used to order food, and it's been told several times about, like putting money in the little Gatorade cup and you pick your food, and we always got shitty food, right? Like it's not like we were ordering the best food either, like, chicken wings, and like you get them, they're already like kind of cold, and like it was brutal.
You always get an order of wing, like the 6-hour bus ride, always had an extra order of wings, put them under your seat for late in the night.
Yeah, little extra snack. We had just all thought ahead. The guy doesn't put the $2 tip in there, and we count it up after. There's always a thing. I remember, I think David Kochi had a thing, and when we were actually in Binghamton one time in that Broome County arena, underneath the stands where our dressing rooms were there was a big altercation about not having enough money in the cup. I'm sure that happened on several teams, but come to find out from talking to Spez and like what the changes have been. And these guys have like food plans and like cooks and like food catered in for them and like all this shit. And we're like scrounging it out and eating at old country buffet. The game has changed now, and these kids are spoiled, and they're in the Minzees. And it used to be like, we called guys like silver spooners or something that never played in the minors. They got to go up, like guys like Crosby. You never had to play in the minors. You don't know what it's like, right, Merles? You don't know like how to grind. You don't know how to play a 3-3. You don't know how to play a 3-3 at the end in Hershey in an afternoon game. And you can't even take off your equipment after, but you're sure as hell could double fist beers at the bar later when you get back. Like you got enough energy for that. The Minzees, the greatest time. So I'm setting the Minzees for not being really the Minzees. Soggy subs. Thank you, Brownie, in the chat. Soggy subs are done. These players are now pampered. They've got chefs. They've got catering food. What are we doing here to these kids? They're supposed to be down there learning how to grind and put money in a cup and eat your shitty sub on your lap with your tracksuit on, and then get back and go to the bar with Italian dressing stains on your tracksuit still with the boys. That's the Minzees, Merles. What are we doing here? Things are changing. Things
have changed. Pasha, let's go with your Minzees here. I think this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, not to beat a dead horse, but this is the time of year where you're doing standings watching every night and getting excited for playoffs, and just despicable this playoff format that we have. I know we've talked about it a bunch, but I'm going to keep banging this drum till it changes back to 1 versus 8. Like what are we doing here? You have powerhouses meeting in the first round. No reward for having a great regular season under the guise of creating rivalries. Like, I'm not buying it. I just think it's so brutal. Get us back to 1v8 like we deserve, like it belongs.
I totally
1 to
agree.
8. Let's do it in our heads, though. Let's do it in our heads. So like you're first, and you would play the wild card 2, right?
Yeah.
And then the second team would play the wild card 1.
Yeah.
Which
isn't really. Washington would play Columbus. Florida would be playing Ottawa. Carolina would be playing Jersey, and Toronto would be playing Tampa.
Is there that much of a change up if we do that with the way it's set up right now? I know that we don't like those big teams getting knocked out. That's all I'm saying.
That's in the East. In the West, it does. In the West, it'd be Winnipeg, Calgary. It'd be Dallas, Edmonton, Vegas, Minnesota, and Colorado, LA.
I do like that, Pasha, for fairness.
Yeah.
I like it to be lined up perfectly like that. And it's just like, you earn this. This is where you are. It's not
100%.
it's not like if one division's weaker than the other division and it's all like scrambled around, and we, it could be just like, it just makes sense.
Yeah. It's like, oh, hey, Colorado. Hey, Dallas. Congrats to having an unbelievable regular season. Here's a play a Goliath in the first round. Like, no.
Yeah, teams aren't stacking up to win the cup. They're stacking up to get through the first round.
Yeah, and I know that in the playoffs, any team can beat any team in the NHL, which I love that aspect of it, but it should be, hey, you had a great regular season. Here's the weakest team that barely crawled in for you to try and feast on.
It just looks better, too, on the TV. You would see 1 versus 8 instead of 1 versus WC2.
Yeah, totally.
stupid. So yeah, I agree with that one. And G, let's get back on for your Minzees.
All right, so I'm gonna put myself in the Minzees, and for the sole fact that I relied on memes to pick a hotel for Scottsdale for our trip here to Scottsdale. Memes, we all love him, great guy, the best, just the best guy ever. But picking hotels can be difficult, and it's something that I've had, I've gotten a lot of shit for in the past with Biz, with the whole guys. But I went to check into my hotel pretty late last night, and the guy, and we're in Scottsdale. So, you're thinking, little beach club, nice pool, maybe a spa, something nice out front. The guy, I get to the front desk and the guy goes, do you want your tackle box? We got a tackle box for you. And I'm like, what? And he's like, oh yeah, we got tackle boxes for you if you want to go fishing out in the pond out back. And I was like, what? We're in Scottsdale. Like, yeah, we got some paddle boats and canoes. You can go in this little pond we got right out back and do some fishing. I'm like, all right, that's kind of weird. I come to my fucking room, all across this white table, there's just dead mosquitoes. I don't know where they came from. They're just dead, just sitting here on the table. Didn't know what to do. So it's on me. I waited till the last minute to book the hotel. Not on Memesy. Yeah, tough hotel here in Scottsdale. Can't wait to get over to Business Place.
I think the mosquitoes are part of the decor. It sounds like you're on you paid extra for the fishing suite.
Resort.
Yeah,
maybe
part of the deal.
There's also bars on the window, like to open the door or window. You basically have to like unscrew these these bars that are like locking it shut, so no one like climbs over and breaks into your room. So yeah, tough.
You're like at the Hotel California. You can go, but you can never leave by the sounds of the bars on there.
And the worst part is I'm like, I haven't taken a vacation in 3 years. I'm like, I'm like, finally, I got a weekend off for myself. I'm like, you know what? On the way here, I'm like, I'm gonna enjoy myself this weekend. I'm gonna kick the feet up, maybe play some golf, sit by the pool, have myself. I'm gonna really soak up this hotel. Maybe get like a lunch drink or something on Saturday. Nope, come to this hotel and they're just trying to give me tackle boxes.
Yeah, you go out back and Memesy's noodling a bass fish out of the pond.
Oh,
with a dead body laid in the tall grass next to you. Where are you at? What's going on here? Unbelievable.
Exactly.
Unreal though. You set me up for this segue right into my Minzees, and I think maybe Memes. Yeah, he's running all the trades, but maybe he's running the travel for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Because what a Minzees move! You are the biggest club in the NHL, billions of dollars you're worth. Biz tells us all the time. You trade for a defenseman at the deadline, and you got him flying commercial. Did you see this? Brandon Carlo caught at the commercial desk in Boston. I sent where's the image here, Pasha?
No.
Yes, I sent the graphic. Let's see it. Come on,
Newly
Pasha. Where are you?
acquired big-time defenseman photographed checking in at the Air Canada or whatever, probably flying into Pearson. That is
There it is. United. Did we not get this?
Not only have you been traded to Boston,
there he is, right there. Come on,
Pearson.
Toronto. That's the Minzees. Send the PJ down. Pick up your new defenseman, your new toy.
I mean, they gave up a first-round pick for him too. Like, it's not like this is just some throwaway trade. Like, they gave some assets up for this guy. You got to treat him like you want him.
Yeah. Do you think he had first class? They better probably put him
a couple of drink
class.
Tickets. Here's a couple of drink tickets for your flight too, buddy.
Yeah, here's a charcuterie board.
But I do like to pick up there. But that's it for show Minzees. Time to wrap it up with some quick fire picks for Saturday and Sunday.
Let's go 11 games Saturday, Merles. Let's get you right into it. Great show, Minzees. We'll follow it up into this weekend slate of games. Penguins against Pasha's New Jersey Devils tomorrow afternoon. Of course, on the slate, what are you looking at here with these games?
You know me, when I'm over here, I go for the earliest game 99% of the time. So Vegas, Buffalo, I'm on Vegas -1.5. I was thinking about doing the over, but I'm going to stick to -1.5. I'm going to save my over for the goals in the game that's just a tad later. Capitals Sharks over. And then my last one, I got to go. I got to stay on these draws. It's draw season. Everybody's fighting for playoffs. Every point is huge. In the one game where I need Blues. I need the Blues to get the playoffs. Blues Wild. I'm thinking draw there. I like that. I like my chance there. I thought the Blues was going to go to draw last night against the Pens. So those are my 3 picks for Saturday.
Attaboy. And I like, and once again, as we go through these games, Merles, keep track of the Western Conference, keep track of that Eastern Conference wild card races. That way you're in the mix for a lot of different teams that are going each and every night. There's, of course, tonight too, but into the weekend as well. I'm loving following this. This gets my juices flowing. These teams are scratching and clawing to try to get into these situations. So love it. There's the picks right there across the screen at the bottom. Moving on for your picks now, we get into Sunday, Merles. Sunday, baby.
Sunday. I mean, this could change. I'm hoping I cash in on Vegas on Saturday. I'm going to leave them alone on Sunday. But if I see something there, maybe I jump on them again or I fade them again. We'll see on that. But of course, the biggest game of the day, Dallas at Colorado. I'm going on the Avs here. I'm taking the team that's maybe, I don't know if they're upset about them, but I'm going with the team of, say, 15 guys that want to show that he should have stayed with us instead of Mikko. Like, yeah, Mikko's going to be going and want to show, but I'll go with the team with 15 guys trying to show they're the better team. And then I just talked about St. Louis. I need them in the playoffs. I need them. I need Monty in there. I need Steen in the playoffs. This is a game you have to have. They should have had the game last night. That's one that's going to haunt them, but they got to take care of business Sunday at home. Early game, St. Louis Blues 3-way versus the Ducks. Keep it simple.
I saw Monty after the game last night. I was between the benches. I came out underneath post game, and he was coming out of his coach's room. Little handshake. Hey, Monty, how you doing? He's like, hey, Army. And then he looked like he was pissed that they lost that game. I thought they played good. To your point, Binnington pulled, but Jari's just a brick wall right now. That's why we had him on the Game Notes Team of the Week here with this play coming back into the picture, into the mix. But he was like, oh, the lot's on the line. They've been rolling pretty good, Merles, those Blues.
It was your Penguins. It was Graves' first goal of the year. The other guy's first goal, Timmins. And then Dewar's first goal as a Penguin. The announcers kept going. First goal. It was crazy.
Yeah. So keep it on the Blues, though. All those teams in the dogfight, even G's Bruins are still kind of hanging in the mix, too. It's like, they trade all these guys and they get rid of some guys and then, their captain. And it's like, oh, here they go. They're still there. They're still in the picture. They're still fighting. So lots of teams to keep an eye on. They have
to go 15-0 to finish the season with 98 points. I don't think I don't
think 98 points is going to be the number. Do you in the East? I think like 90, 92? What are we thinking?
Yeah. What do you got? You got Columbus and Rangers at 70. No.
Yeah, I'd say mid-90s.
It's awesome. What a race coming up. What a show. Yep. What a show. That's it, Arm Dog. You want to wrap it all up here? All the thank yous?
Extravaganza. I sound like you there. Guy Gadowsky, Penn State rolling. Remember, 8 o'clock. I think it's 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Eastern time is their big semifinal game against Ohio State. Big rivalry meeting right now to try to get to the finals against Michigan State or Notre Dame, who are out of that Big Ten. Trying to win it right now, making some great noise. Thanks for coming on to him and talking about the program and how it's been popping and some of the great moments and players that they had this year. Just incredible. Merles, we got to shout out our sponsors though, hey?
The best sponsors in the league.
DraftKings, thank you. Body Armor.
I am going to dummy you today, DraftKings. I am going to dummy you today.
And all weekend, they're coming after you. Game Notes on our socials, Merles. Also, Game Notes Bud on X. Yep. And on Instagram at Game Notes. We've just been firing, rocking it lately. Unbelievable setup right now on our socials. But what a great show, buddy. What a great show.
Like, subscribe. This Chicklets YouTube is getting close to 400,000. Their Bob Does Sandbagger that Pasha did. Go check that out. Subscribe. Next Game Notes next week, Friday, 12 Eastern as planned. Now, who knows if an extravaganza comes up. Something comes up. We might have to do an extravaganza. Chicklets U next week, Minnesota. Looking forward to that. They're a huge team, top 5 team. I'm going to leave the people with a game going off in 7 minutes. We're here in Sweden. It's the relegation time. Ooh. It is HV71 versus Whitney's Moto. both in the top league now. Best of 7 series.
Wow.
Whoever loses gets knocked down to the Minzees.
That's
So huge
crazy.
game. Game 1 tonight, kicking off in 7 minutes. I ride with the wit. I'm on Moto minus 130 money line on the DraftKings Sportsbook. Crown is yours, Army. A little taste.
Attaboy.
Tonight's
Attaboy. Love it. There it is right there. Thank you, Merles. Thanks, G. Posh on the back, working it in, jumping in. Unbelievable crew we got here. Happy birthday to Paul Bissonnette, the big 4-0, big party tonight, of course. Happy birthday, JT Miller. Pasha wished him a happy birthday. And happy birthday to my little Lucy. She's growing up, 8 years old. Happy birthday, Lou. Have a great weekend, everybody.